Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Sun is rising, feel the warmth on my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race. I sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. No need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. My name is Kimberly McLemore, and I am your host. With us, we have Lakeisha Singletary, the digital profit strategist, founder of Elevate Digital Media, Inc.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello.
Welcome, Lakeisha. How are you?
I am doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's such a pleasure to have this opportunity to interview you all the way from Beverly Hills, California, correct?
Yes, we're out. Well, we actually moved our locations. We're now in Los Angeles off of Wilshire Boulevard.
Oh, okay. So you're in LA.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Love it out here. Weather is great.
Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful in LA. I've had some opportunities to get out there. So the next time I go, I have to come out and visit you.
Yes, definitely. Sounds good to me.
All right. So welcome again, like I said, to the WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program. Could you just please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I guess let me kind of start. I like to start with my story from being from a small town, because a lot of people feel when they're from a small town, they can't dream big. So I'm from a small town, Lake City, South Carolina. And I actually attended South Carolina State University, which I have a background in computer science and mathematics. And I came out of the corporate world. Last corporate job I had was Marriott International, which was in Bethesda, Maryland. Because I moved from Lake City, South Carolina, out to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I lived in the DMV area for about 10 years, actually, and moved out here to L.A. and just literally woke up one morning when I was in D.C. and we were like, hey, the hubby and I was like, hey, let's move to California. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And then about a couple of months later, we were out here in California, never visited, didn't know anyone, one bag apiece, left the house and everything. Moved out here to LA. Yes, I did.
Wow.
Our two children, and I was expecting a new baby at the time. And I just we literally up and left, and we came out here, and I started doing freelance in the first couple of years, and then about a year and a half ago now, we started Elevate Digital Media Incorporated, and that's pretty much what we've been doing since. And it's a digital technology agency. And we basically develop mobile apps and we develop websites as well as online marketing solutions for clients.
Okay. All right. Before we dive into more of the business aspect, I just am still sitting here listening to what you just said about the fact that you just one day decided that, hey, as a family, we're going to pack up everything. I'm expecting it doesn't matter. We are out of here. I mean, as you know, we are here. I'm here in the Washington, D.C. metro area as well. And I'm just like, okay, that's a complete difference between California and DC. And so you guys just point your finger at the map and say, this is where we're going. I mean, because that is a really, incredible story.
Kimberly, the thing is about me, I'm the one in my family that literally, when people say jump out on faith, I am that person. Mm-hmm. I left Lake City. And literally one night I was in Walmart with my mom, and I said, hey, I'm going to go back to D.C. with Brenda, because my cousin, she was visiting. Mm-hmm. And she was like, did you tell her yet? I was like, no. And it was 10 o'clock p.m. So I got home. I said, hey, can I go back to D.C. with you? She was like, well, yeah, I'm leaving at 6:30 tomorrow morning. The next morning, I grabbed my a trash bag because I was so young.
Right.
I grabbed the trash bag and just threw some summer clothes in there, not realizing it was colder in D.C. than it was in South Carolina at the time. But I threw my summer clothes in a black trash bag the next morning, and I was like literally in D.C. So for me, that jump, it was just, I don't know. I'm just so used to doing that. Like, I'll pick up and probably move to China next. You never know.
Right.
But my it's definitely a huge difference than DC. DC to me was more corporate. Here is more. It seems like no one actually has a job. Everyone kind of works for themselves.
Okay.
That's what it appears to be. But so yeah, the difference is definitely there's a difference. But I love it. The weather, no snow. Like in DC, I don't miss shoveling snow.
Right.
But yeah, I love the atmosphere here. And I love the energy here as well. And so things has really taken off, and you'll be surprised. But the people I had my business pretty much on the side I've been doing websites on the side for a while in DC, but I really wasn't getting clients like that. And I was, more so I was into my career at the time too. But it's like, once I moved out here, the people I didn't meet in DC, I started meeting everyone. From the DC area, and started getting clients, and then things just kind of started trickling and rolling in. But the change it's been a good change. It's been a good change.
Well, like they say, like you said, stepping out on faith. Sometimes you just have to do what you feel like you have to do, and I applaud you for that, because a lot of people aren't willing to do that when they have a dream or a vision of something that they want to accomplish, and you did that. But explain to me, how did you get inspired to do the business? Like you said, you were really in the corporate entity, being here in D.C., and then you said you were working the business on the side. So what made you decide to do it on the side and then elevate it to this point?
Well, this may sound a little cliche-ish, but I've been always an entrepreneur at heart since I've been a kid. I mean, from wanting to win first place when it comes to selling Girl Scout cookies to wanting to win first place as selling candy for the school. I've always had that spirit where I wanted to have my own thing. I started a little business when I was maybe about 10 or 11, where I would buy fabric and some soaps, a little cheap soap, and this little bird nest material and a basket. Seriously, and a basket. And I would take that little cute basket, put the bird nest in the basket, and I had a glue gun, a hot glue gun, and I would basically glue the lace that I would purchase, because from the country, a lot of people, they either like green or mauve, like this mauve pink is what they would call it. Right. So I would make these bathroom decorations and kitchen decorations, and I was selling them for $5 and $10. And so people were actually buying them, and I was 10 or 11, like I said at the time. And so whenever I started college, I focused mostly on school, didn't start a business in college. Sometimes I regret that, but I didn't. But my background was computer science and math, because I knew computers weren't going anywhere. So afterwards, I pretty much just started, like I said, kind of climbing the corporate ladder. But when I first moved to DC, I didn't have a job. So what I started doing was I had a residential help desk business that I started. And we also did websites. It was called Beyond Imagination. And now, mind you, I knew nothing about starting a business. Really, I didn't even file it or anything. But I would go.
You were just out there.
I was just like, hey, I'm here. I got to hustle. I got to make money. So I would go to people's home, didn't have a vehicle, catch the metro bus, the metro there in DC, would catch that and go take viruses off people's computer, install software, fix a computer, create a computer from the ground up. I mean, I've always had something going on the side pertaining to, the computers and the websites. Okay. And so then I realized that it was kind of dangerous going on the metro to strangers' house. Right. I was not even, knowing the area that well. So I just started doing the websites, and pretty much it just kept blossoming into something a little bigger and a little bigger. But I never really stepped out to just do it by itself. I always had my business because it was a cushion, making great money. And so when at Marriott making 6 figures, my job was so flexible. I was working from home. I mean, I had a sweet job there. I mean, the hotel discounts was crazy. So I'm like, they thought I was crazy when I told them I was leaving. Right. But I was just like, you know what? I'm just ready to step out there. I had this blue big old bin. And mind you, before I kept trying, before I even started my, not Elevate Digital Media, I started Tell Your Business too. But before I even started Tell Your Business, in between time, I kept going back and forth. I kept struggling with doing websites. I'm like, I want to do something fun. That looks like something fun, what they're doing. So my sister and I, we had a baby online boutique. Then we were talking about opening up a boutique for kids where they can come get their nails and stuff done. But everything was going to be pertaining to the honor roll. Then I started Designer's Basement, which I was selling handbags online. I had Trust a Contractor, which is similar to what Angie's List is now.
Okay.
I mean, I've done so many things. I had Lottie Concierge. I can go on. So I had this big old blue bin that was full of nothing. Okay. It had a lot of notebooks, a lot of research, a lot of papers, but it was nothing because I would start something and I'd say, well, I don't want to do that anymore. And I'll start something else.
Right.
And I kept my passion, obviously, has always been, it's been computers. And so long story short, it's just always been in me, to do this, what I'm doing now.
Right.
So when we moved out here, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to do this full time.
Wow,
for myself.
Well, with all that background and experience of being an entrepreneur, solopreneur, femalepreneur, you have done it all. Yeah, somethingpreneur. But guess what? It led to this. So, you got to pat yourself on the back. But that is the beauty of, telling these stories is that I think it's awesome that you have, living your dream all the way from the time you could remember. And that's the key here. I think a lot of people never really reach enough inside of themselves to know what passion that they do have. Because we all have something in us that we want to do. It's just about whether or not you're going to take that step and implement it and make it work. And you have absolutely utilized your talents all the way in a full circle. And here you are today running a full company. So, like I said, you got to pat yourself on the back for that because this story is incredible. I'm just sitting here like, wow.
I always tell people they see glitz and glam, but you don't see what's going on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about what you provide. Now, you call yourself the Digital Profit Strategist. Explain to me what that is.
Okay, I will. So the Digital Profit Strategist means what I do with clients. We do three things. We help them attract their ideal client, their ideal audience. And then we convert them into a client or a customer, depending upon your business. And then we help you increase your profits. So the Digital Profit Strategist, I help you basically strategize your company to set you up to increase profits online.
Okay. Okay. Wow. I love the brand of the Digital Profit Strategist. When I seen your picture, was like, oh, that's interesting. It just really stood out, and it made me want to learn more about who you were. Okay. And as I was kind of doing some research, I wanted to understand, what is POWER? What does the abbreviation stand for? Oh, POWER. Yes. So POWER is a system that I've been working on since 2015, end of 2015. Okay. I introduced it to the world. I had an interview I did, actually, a feature in Huffington Post back in February. Yes. And that was the first time that I introduced POWER, and I still was kind of doing some tweaks to it. But it's an acronym that stands for basically the P, position your brand online. And I'll kind of dive into that. But the O is to optimize your online presence. The W, watch your analytics. The E stands for engage with your audience. And the R is reevaluate your process. And so POWER is that system. If you are a small business that has been if you're overwhelmed with, going to Google and doing all these searches and you just don't know where to start, what comes first or what comes second, then POWER is for that type of small business. So I have Elevate Digital Media Incorporated, and that is more so people that pretty much already have like a marketing budget. We are also a government contractor. So with POWER, what I've done, I created Lakeisha Speaks, which is my personal brand. And with Lakeisha Speaks, I'm doing what I do with Elevate Digital Media, but I'm more so teaching you from the ground where to start, at least from the ground up. So you can then hire Elevate Digital Media to do the work for you once you get to that point. Okay. And so, so POWER just pretty much breaks it down and helps you, get started. A lot of people, when they come online, the first thing they'll do is like, oh, let me get a logo. I'm going to get a website and, and I'm ready. And let me get my social media platforms. But they don't think about their
audience? Who are you even promoting to? And sometimes they are confused. They don't even know how to break it down. They think they know, but I'm like, okay, explain to me your persona. What type of books are they reading? Where do they shop? Where do they go online? They can't, how much do they make? Are they male or female? How old are they?
Right.
Do they have a house? Do they have kids? And we really get very detailed with that because it's important, especially when you start running ads like Facebook and Google ads.
Right.
You don't want to waste your money. So if you don't know that, you don't even know who you're speaking to on your website. You don't even know how to talk to your client because you don't even know who you're targeting. So with Power, the positioning your brand part, that's what we help them do. Position their brand even before you get online. And also you want to have a funnel in place. A lot of people don't even have an email marketing tool that they're using. And that's, that's one of the first parts of the funnel where you kind of want to start. So it's basically getting them grounded to say, hey, this is where you need to start because it can be overwhelming. And then let's continue to reevaluate the process, which is one of the most important part of Power, because if you don't reevaluate your process, all of the above, you've done it for nothing. So, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, finish what you were going to say.
I was just going to say, as far as the O, just so people can kind of be clear, with optimizing your online presence, basically we're talking about search engine optimization, which are like your keywords, Google keyword planner, and those sorts of things. With W, watch your analytics. That's your Google Analytics, where you're watching your numbers, you're watching your bounce rates. Are people just coming in on one page and leaving off the others? Because if your bounce rate is close to 100, that is not good. You want people to dive deeper. And I show you how to make people dive deeper in your site without just leaving and just going to somewhere else. And then the E, engaging your audience. Of course, that's your Facebook Live, all your social media platforms that you're on, teaching you how to engage with them, teaching you about the importance of blogging and how to respond back to your audience. We go into lead generation a little deeper here as well. And then again, get to the reevaluate your process part. So that is pretty much what Power is.
Wow. And that's, now that you mentioned that, that's exactly what your Huffington Post article was portraying, the 5 steps, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And I was sitting here like, okay, yeah, those are some of the things that I could probably use some added benefit and learn some more about, because when you're in business and you're working for yourself, you're constantly trying to learn. You're constantly trying to run. So as a solopreneur, you're trying to think of everything you need to do. And even though you may have a small team behind you, you can't wear them out and have them try to do everything because their mindset is only going to be particularly on what you're asking them to do. So I really like that. Yeah, I definitely like that, what that stands for and how you evaluate and understanding what marketing truly is, because that's a very important piece of trying to, be a business person. So wow, that's excellent. Another quick question. So talk a little bit about some of the challenges. You said you've only been doing the business full time now for about 1.5 years since you've been there in California. Talk about your challenges.
Oh my goodness. One challenge I will say was, you got to be careful who your clients are. Choose your clients wisely. I know we're in business to make money, but I don't take a client unless we are both a good fit for each other. Okay. And I say that because from experience. So an incident that happened, before I even go into it, one thing, make sure you have a lawyer look over your contract. Because we think that we can do everything like I did. And I had my contract. I was sending out a proposal to a client and everything was awesome until it wasn't. So, and I had a client who, long story short, we were doing great. I'd sent her over what we built out her image of her homepage, and she literally texted me and was like, oh my gosh, I just saw it. I see my brand. I love you. Praises. And we had a meeting at 11 o'clock that day. So, she said, oh, my partner, I can't wait till my partner see it. Skirt. Wait a minute. You didn't tell me about a partner. I've been working with you for about, we were going back and forth talking for about 2 months. And then she decided to go with Elevate Digital Media. So, it took us about 3 weeks to get her homepage down the way she wanted it, and never heard of a partner. So I was like, okay. So we got on the phone with the partner, and the partner goes, we don't want it. We want our money back. I said, huh? And yes, I said, so what is the problem? She said, we wanted a one pager. I say, well, I know you weren't on the previous calls with us. She said, well, she was recording all the calls. And I was like, okay. I say, well, that's even better. I say, so you'll understand that a one pager compared to what, your partner was asking for and compared to the other competitions, the other competitors that she showed me, a one pager would not work for this brand at all. And she's like, just give me our money back. I said, okay, this is what I'll do. I say, I'll just deduct only the work that we've done and give you the rest back. So while I was in the process of doing that, the clients that I sent them over my portfolio, and my portfolio used to be on our website, but since this incident, I actually took it off. Okay. And I just sent it out to people now. But they went through it and emailed each and every last client and said, Lakeisha Singletary is a scam artist.
What?
Yes. Yes. They went and said I was a scam artist. They went in a group that had almost 2,000 people in the group that they were a part of and said, I was a scam. They started a post about me. I mean, it was crazy. And I was told by another young lady, she was like, I'm going to add you to this group because they're talking about you. And I was like, really? It hurt me. It hurt me because I'm like, me and this young lady, I even gave her a great deal on the website because I felt like I was helping her from our conversations. And so I was looking at it. Literally, I couldn't eat for like 3 days. Because I'm looking at all the stuff that people were saying, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they think I'm this horrible person," and not realizing as I went after a while, I went back maybe a couple of days, and I realized it was only about 6 people that were on her side because what she made a mistake of doing, she posted the contract up. And in there, I said I would modify, as pretty much as many times as you need me to until we get it right. And they were pointing that out to her. And she was like, she didn't want to hear that anytime someone was on my side. So with that being said, some of my clients are lawyers and they was like, no, all my clients responded back to them. Like, don't talk about Lakeisha, basically. And so I end up having to have a lawyer. I have one here in LA. Then I had to get one in DC because the person is in Maryland, the Maryland area. So I had to get one there and we sent out the cease and desist letter. They had to apologize and all of this. It was to the point that the young lady texted my phone and said, oh, I know what school your daughter goes to. And she said the name of my daughter's school. Now, at that point, being a business owner, honey, went out the window.
Exactly. So, yeah, that was taking it too far.
Taking it way too far. And I was like, you don't want to go there. That's the wrong place to go when you're talking about my kids. And so, everything was end up being on my side. They end up not getting any of their money back. Because in the end, since they did that and it was not true, and that was in bad taste on their part. And I was going to give them pretty much literally 80% of their money back, if not more, to be honest. Right. But it was just crazy. So I have been choosing my clients wisely. I asked from the get-go, do you have a partner? I need both of you to sign on this on the dotted line. So I just do my due diligence. So I've definitely had a lesson. Learned a lesson from that. Yeah,
that was a huge lesson. And the other part of that lesson is that I would not want to do any business with those other 2 individuals that tried to scam you. I mean, to sit there and go through that whole process is just very arrogant and ignorant. I have to say that. I mean, it's just ridiculous that somebody would even go that far and you're trying to help them. So, it just goes to prove that there are many people who call themselves business owners and they really don't have the heart or the passion and then should not even be considering going into business, when you're doing something like that. So definitely a challenge that I would not want to face. And you're right. If you do want to have an attorney review your contracts, I agree with that 100% because you don't know who you're getting involved with. And like I said, when you're new and you're trying to treat people respectfully and you're trying to help the customer because that's what you do. That's what you're trying to do is make sure that you're looking out for their benefit so that they can start off from the ground running versus trickling themselves, to get to where they want to be at. And then when you have to deal with that, it's really sad, to be honest with you. So I'm sorry you had to go through that, but it definitely was a lesson learned. And I'm sure that they learned a lesson at the end too. Don't mess with people.
Right, exactly.
I'm sure it wasn't worth it. Right.
It was not.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It was not.
Okay, so the other thing I learned a little bit about you is that you have you were a co-host on an iHeart radio show. Do you still have that
Yes.
show?
Well, this is the thing. I was a lady who was actually the host of the show. It was called This Little Parent Stayed Home, about 2 million listeners.
Mm-hmm.
She was looking for a co-host. And so she was like, she wanted people to submit videos to show different personalities. And a friend of mine on Facebook tagged me because I wasn't her friend, the lady, the host
Right.
friend. I wasn't her friend on Facebook. So they tagged me and I was like, what is this? And I'm looking like, I've never done radio in my life, So I was like, why would they tag me? But then I was like, this may not be a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally sent her like a video of me being funny and one with me being corporate and one with family, etc. And also my bio. So I went in and she had myself and I think like 3 or 4 others that came in too for the co-host position.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all in radio. And when I went in there, it was more so of my personality. I was very genuine and just my knowledge on marketing online that really got me and, landed me that position as a co-host. So I did that for about, I think almost a year. It was almost a year. And then business really was like moving for me here in California. And so I was no longer able to keep up because I was trying to figure things out like, oh my gosh, I got to hire people. I got to do this and do that. Right. But it's something that I am actually looking into going back. I'm looking to going back into doing at least a podcast maybe. So yeah, I was with iHeart. It was pretty fun going to the radio station every day.
Well, that's cool because I would say you definitely have the podcast voice. So, hear you back on podcast again, doing an interview, just prepping yourself. I'm getting you prepped, okay?
I know, that's so funny. I always, when I hear my voice, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to hear it. I can't hear it.
You sound great. So you're perfect. You've got a wealth of knowledge, and great stories. And that's really the key, I guess, about podcasting, is being able to truly provide great information for the listeners and then tell a story, and it's a true story. Mm-hmm. So, and that's part of the reason why I do this for my initiative, my program is, I want any listener, whether you're a woman or a man who is ever listening, that you're truly providing valuable information because there's so much out here that we should be sharing the resources and teaching people what not to do, and of course talk about the good things. So on that note, tell me a little bit, give me one thing that you feel that you want to share about a success that you've had. Okay. All the things that you've accomplished and things that you do.
Oh my gosh, which one should I choose? I have more successes, thank God. But I'll have to say the thing that really kicked us off. So myself and Biz Markie, we had a mutual friend. Mm-hmm. Who were friends who was also friends with his manager, Monty, at the time. Mm-hmm. And so he connected Monty and I because Biz, I guess he hired some people to increase his Twitter followers, but the followers would fall off because they were fake. So he had this drinking endorsement deal with Enzevia Drinking Company, and they told him he had to have a certain amount of followers basically before the contract would go through. Okay. So our mutual friend told him about us, so I ended up talking to his manager, and he was like, well, if you're saying you can do it, then let's do it. So we did a 12-month strategy.
Hello? Lakeisha, I think we just lost you for a few minutes here. We're going to have to try to hold off here and see if we can get you back on. Lakeisha? All right, listeners, so give us a few more seconds here. We'll see if we can get Lakeisha back on the line. We want to continue this great conversation. We are almost to the end, so 1 second, please. Everybody be patient. I'm going to bring back the music until we can get back a hold of Miss Lakeisha. 1 second, please.
Their songs inspire me to sing a sweet melody. How do they do it? Not a care and suffering. Wanna step into their world. Who holds the key? It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way.
Yes. Hello.
I mean, you went completely gone. I don't know what happened, but
For real, really, I don't know what happened either. The only thing that
weird.
happened. Oh, well, I wonder, was it this Amber Alert popped up on my phone?
Okay, it's
I
okay.
wonder.
It's okay. We're still on. I want to finish it up because
Okay.
I put in the music. I told everybody to hold for a second. We're going to get to the bottom of this piece because we have got this great conversation going. I'm going to let everybody know. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It is okay. We are still moving forward with this excellent interview. So everybody, we're back on track. So let's go back and just finish the story that you were talking about and your success.
Oh, yes, definitely. I was talking about Biz Markie. So I was just saying how the fact of us being able to get him from 35,000 Twitter followers to over 355,000 followers definitely is one of our successes because he was one of our first big clients, you know? Mm-hmm. So I was super happy about that. He also was able to get his endorsement deal with a drinking company called Zevia, Dre Beats, before he sold to Apple. He got an endorsement deal with them as well. And so that pretty much, it helped us out a lot, especially here in LA, being able to say that he was one of our first clients, and things did start kind of rolling and things started kicking off, you know, since then.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool. Cause I noticed that looked like you had some really high end, individuals that you've been helping. And I thought that was really neat to see that on your website. And so,
yes. And then, you know, having great people on your team too, because some of the people we have on our team, for example, our PR public relations, relations specialist, Monica, she was able to bring in some great clients as far as you can see, some, you know, NFL,
right,
and NASCAR as well. And then another one, my biggest, what I love, who we brought in was the government. That is huge for us. And I'm always talking to businesses saying, hey, if you can become a government contractor, which more than likely you can, it's a huge opportunity. It will definitely change your life, your family life, financially. I mean, emotionally, just everything. So definitely, I would say becoming a government contractor was a huge deal as well.
Okay. Well, that's excellent. So you are definitely, when stepping out on faith was absolutely something you needed to do because you are soaring. So
thank you.
That's awesome. So you do, all of everything you do is about helping people. So if you had one thing that you would want to share with another woman who wanted to step out on faith and started a business, what advice would you give her?
Wow. I would say the advice I would give her is don't listen to the naysayers around you. If you have a vision and you feel strongly about what you're doing and you know what it is that you're doing as well, because that's important, just keep pushing forward and just keep doing it, because the more you push yourself towards your vision and your dream, the closer it'll get to you. And the naysayers, they'll start being pushed back. You know, they'll be pushed backwards as you get closer to your dream. So just keep going for it. And do you mind me telling a quick story? Okay. The reason why I say this, when I moved out here to LA, I told my family that I actually had a job with Google.
Okay.
And it was a complete lie. Okay. I did not have a job at Google. I never even applied to Google. And so, you know, I didn't realize my mom was going to go to church and tell everybody there to the church folks. And I was like, oh gosh, I was like, oh no. So, maybe I told her, I guess about 3 months later. Yeah, it was about 3 months. I told her, I said, okay, Ma, I don't have a job at Google. I only did that because my mom and dad, they already was, you know, kind of crazy with me moving out to DMV. So 3,000 miles away is like, what? You don't have a job? What?
Right.
Why are you leaving this great job that you have? What? You know, and they're not used to the entrepreneur spirit, so to speak. You know, they're used to working for people. Nothing wrong with, you know, working for people. It just wasn't my passion. And so I told them that I worked at Google, just so I didn't have to hear all that craziness in all the noise.
Right.
So fast forward, last year, Google actually reached out to me, and I still have the email because I was like, oh my gosh, over 3 million people applied to them per year, and I didn't apply once. But Megan Ford, who was one of their recruiters at Google, she contacted me and said, hey, I saw your LinkedIn profile. Then she went on to visit my Facebook, my website, and everything. And she saw the consistency, and they reached out to me saying, hey, are you interested? You know, because we have a position available. Even though I knew I wasn't going to take the job, but I wanted the experience because I heard their interviews were completely different, and that was so true.
Okay.
And so long story short, I made it to the third interview. And I was the fourth one. I needed to fly out to Silicon Valley, but I decided not to because the money they were offering me was great money. But I'm like, at the end of the day, one government contract, I can make that from just one contract.
Right.
Probably more. So I didn't go with it, but I was so happy for the experience. And I'm like, I'm able to say I told Google no at the end of the day. And so, and I said, I'm going to keep my eye on the prize. And everyone was like, you can just go and just give it a try. That's a lot of money. But I kept saying, I'm not going to worry about this. Like, well, the business not making that much money yet. And at the time they were right. We weren't making a whole lot of money. But my husband, he was like, we already know what we asked God for because I'm a strong believer. I'm a strong believer in faith. He said, we know what we asked God for. So he's like, let's just keep focused and, don't even worry about what everybody else is saying.
Right.
And I pretty much put all that to the side and stay focused. And then, hey, we're a government contractor. From there, winning contracts from, it was just like things just moved fast. It was almost like God say, hey, you trust me. So let me show you what I'm going to do for you for trusting in me.
Right, exactly.
So,
and like you say, sometimes it's not always about the money. I mean, it's obvious, you have to have the money in order to do your normal daily survival, so to speak, pay your bills, make sure you're fed and so forth. But when you have that certain desire that's in your heart, it's just, you got to go for it. And like I said, if you listen to everybody telling you what you should or should not do, 90% of the time I find when those people are saying that is because they've never tried. They've never lived their dream.
Amen. That's why, that 99% and the 1% exists because the 1%, you do what the 99% aren't willing to do. And that's take sacrifices. And they could have been right. Maybe I could have been a fool, to keep trying to go after this, but I didn't feel that. And I had to actually live that out myself to find out if they were right.
Absolutely. That's right. Yep, you had to do for you because otherwise you would be sitting back, keep thinking yourself, even though you would appreciate what you had, you would never feel the same. And, because you didn't take that step that you really truly came out there to take. So, like I said, applaud yourself because you are doing it and that's all that counts. And so, congratulations. And I love the fact that your husband has been so supportive as well. Your family has been there for you because that's a lot. Like I said, just to get up one day and just walk away from everything and say, you know what, we're going to do this. And you have to be two strong individuals to hold that all together. So congratulations on that end as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we're getting close to the end of the interview, and I want to please, tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you.
Oh, yes, most definitely. So if you guys just can go to Facebook, I have 2 Facebook pages. So I have my facebook.com/elevate digital media. And then again, I have my personal brand, which is facebook.com/Lakeisha Speaks. And Lakeisha is spelled Lakeisha. That's Lakeisha Speaks. And I'm also Lakeisha Speaks on Twitter and on Instagram. And our website is elevatedigitalmedia.com.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
One, I do have a quote that I love. It's by Henry Van Dyke. Okay. It says, some succeed because they are destined to, but most succeed because they are determined to. So if you're determined to succeed, you will be successful.
Absolutely.
And that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. I know you're extremely busy, and I appreciate you sharing your story with all of us this evening. For me, you all know that I'm here every Thursday evening at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. You can find me at the Women's Small Business Initiative. The website is www.sbillc.com. You can also find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. But until then, you all enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you all for your patience for our little technical difficulties as well. Take care.